But whatever you do, don't panic like my brother used to.
Okay, let's go. Wait a minute, you don't have a brother.
Exactly. And with marrying out of commission, that increases my chances of hooking up with some of the fine females up in here. Go ahead, Mr. Jones, get your confide on. I'm like a locked safe without a key. Once a secret goes in, like solitary confinement, it's hard to get out. I mean, you know, you're like a very attractive family member that I am not at all related to.
Y'all remember T from the Parkers, right?
I'm currently on UPN's The Parkers, where I play the role Tyrell, good friend of Countess Vaughn and Jenna Von Oy.
Thaddeus Radcliffe, a.k.a. Mr. Smooth, a.k.a. the funny, flirty one who always had a plan that somehow fell apart.
Quick tip for you to wonder how people get so clean.
Well, Ken Lawson, the man behind the swag, was every bit as charming off-screen as he was on. But have you ever wondered where he's been since those UPN sitcom days? Trust me, Ken's life has had just as many ups and downs as one of his comedy plots, and we're spilling all the tea right here. From the incident that made him lose his role on Bounce TV's In the Cut to the pandemic drama, we are exposing it all. So grab your popcorn as we get to know who Ken L is behind the cameras. Ken Lawson didn't just stroll into Hollywood, he hustled his way in. Born Kenyatta T. Lawson on January 19th, 1976 in West Covina, California, he grew up in the suburbs, a world away from the glitz and glamour of Tinseltown. But even as a kid, Ken knew how to work a crowd.
And just once, I'm gonna be able to say something like, bring me a soda.
He was that one kid who had everybody cracking up at talent shows and family gatherings. You know, the kind of person who could turn a lecture from the teacher into a full comedy routine. Honestly, can you imagine him clowning at the dinner table? I bet his parents couldn't even stay mad long enough to discipline him. Ken's family saw his spark and supported his passion for the arts. He was never shy about stepping up to perform, even when the stakes were low. And that charisma followed him into adulthood, landing him his first TV gig in 1996 on In the House.
You killed my fish. I hate you. You know you're never gonna go on my crabbly farm, mama, again.
Playing Carl alongside LL Cool J wasn't just a big break. It was the first brick in a foundation that would later make him a sitcom star.
Check out the Kabuki Theater. When you get to the motherland, give me a phone number of one of them Egyptian honeys.
But let's be real, the Parkers is where Ken truly
Why you hating? You got a man.
And so we'll see if he hooks up with her.
became a household name. Cast as Thaddeus T. Radcliffe in 1999, he embodied every slick, fast-talking friend you ever had in college who swore he could land you free concert tickets.
T and I are frat brothers. I'm the chapter advisor.
And I'm Sergeant at Arms.
T was a mess, but a lovable one, and Ken brought so much personality to the role that he became an instant fan favorite. I mean, who didn't want a friend like T? Sure, he might borrow your car without asking, but you'd be laughing about it the whole time.
That's freaky, huh? I'll see you later.
On the Parkers,
The guys. Man, you don't do it one of the guys that we did together last night.
Ken shared the screen with icons like Monique and Countess Vaughn. Their chemistry was fire, and fans weren't just noticing the laughs. Rumors started flying about whether something was going on between Ken and Countess off-screen. Were they dating? Were they just really good friends? Nobody confirmed anything, but the speculation added even more intrigue.
Diamond earring? What? Just like my old one. Except my old one was bigger.
Honestly, the way they bickered on screen felt way too real to just be acting, but maybe we're just messy for thinking that.
What you gonna do is just raise your right arm and bend from the waist.
Oh, okay.
After the Parkers ended in 2004, Ken faced a reality that's far too common for black actors in Hollywood. What happens next? The offers didn't come flooding in, and he found himself in that uncomfortable space between fame and what do I do now? He popped up in smaller roles in movies like Malibu's Most Wanted.
My soul to have what I had in my life before. Living tripe, you know, no time for slow.
But nothing quite matched the breakout success he experienced on UPN. When things slowed down in acting, Ken went into another passion, music. Performing under the name Ken L, he dipped his toes into songwriting and producing. Now look, his tracks didn't exactly go platinum, but they were a testament to his versatility. He wasn't just an actor or comedian. He was an artist in every sense of the word. It wasn't a surprise he went into music making. As Ken has often said, he's a huge fan of hip-hop and old-school jams. The kind of guy who would rather vibe out to some Earth, Wind and Fire or LL Cool J than dive into the latest radio hits. Ken's love for timeless classics bleeds into everything he does. He even made time to raise awareness about the impact of bullying, urging everyone to embrace kindness, sharing heartfelt messages online, and speaking directly to his fans. He's become an advocate for compassion and understanding. By the time 2015 rolled around, Ken was back in action with a new sitcom, In the Cut, on Bounce TV.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, the food was great, but the service was the pit.
Reuniting with Dorian Wilson from The Parkers was a full-circle moment for fans who had missed seeing the duo's comedic genius.
Well, I'm his illegitimate 31-year-old son, you know?
The show was a hit among viewers, proving that Ken's comedic timing hadn't missed a beat. Oh, and remember Ken's gift for music? Well, it got some screen time too. On In the Cut, he performed a piece, showcasing that smooth musical talent he's always had up his sleeve. It wasn't just acting, it was a full-circle moment where his passion for melodies met his knack for entertainment.
Yeah, actually, I did perform a verse on In the Cut, man, and it was pretty fun. We have a character on there named Stella, who is Smitty's.
It's like the show said, let's give the fans everything they love about Ken Lawson in one swoop. Genius move if you ask me. Ken has also had his share of court drama. Back in December 2019, he found himself in the headlines for a jaw-dropping reason. Literally. He was in a lawsuit following a physical altercation with music executive Wack 100 at a sushi restaurant in Hollywood. Allegedly, the fight broke out after Wack accused Ken of talking to his wife, escalating into a violent encounter that left Ken with serious injuries, including a wired jaw. Talk about drama. Not only did Ken endure a tough recovery, but he also claims he lost his role on Bounce TV's In the Cut due to his injuries. And here's the kicker. The lawsuit also names Birdman and Cash Money Records, since Wack 100 was promoting a Cash Money artist when it all went down. The next year was also a bumpy ride for Ken as the 2020 pandemic hit hard, and Ken faced tough times finding roles when Hollywood slowed down. He bounced back with a standout part as George in the sci-fi thriller Lumina.
Did she mention anything about being underground or in some subterranean environment with other humans?
When I was able to look at this script and have the opportunity to perform this character, George, who is also like a conspiracy theorist, I was like, hey.
From comedy to spaceships, this man really said, watch my range. And let's talk about Ken's personal life. Here's the thing. He keeps his business locked up tighter than Fort Knox, but is willing to share his relationship with his wife, Monique. Their love story feels like something straight out of a romantic comedy. He's known his wife for decades. They were friends long before sparks started flying.
I've known her for a few decades, and so finally got around to dating.
Eventually, friendship turned into something deeper, and since they began dating over 14 years ago, their bond has only grown stronger. The pair have built a beautiful life together, welcoming daughters into their family and creating a home filled with love, language, laughter, and plenty of music.
My daughters, they go to a language academy, so it's really cool. And my daughter speaks Spanish. They're gonna move on to Mandarin.
You've got to admit, knowing your soulmate for years before dating feels like the ultimate love hack. It's like they got the cheat code to a lasting marriage. If you were thinking, what about his relationship with Countess Vaughn? Was it love? Was it a fling? Was it just for the fans? We may never know, but it definitely gave the fans something to chew on. My bet? They probably had a will they or won't they situation even. They didn't understand. Despite staying relatively low, Ken keeps finding ways to pop back into our lives. Whether it's short films like I Was Her, his recurring role as officer driver on The Oval, or a surprise Instagram post, Ken knows how to remind us that he's still here. Fans love him for being down to earth and relatable, even after decades in the industry. Like many actors, Ken has dealt with the ups and downs of Hollywood, where yesterday's star is often today's afterthought. Despite it all, Ken kept grinding, staying connected to his craft and his audience. Sometimes Hollywood forgets about its stars, but Ken's over here like, don't call it a comeback, I never left. Ken's journey from sitcom fame to steady success is a story of perseverance, faith, and finding your lane in a constantly changing industry. At 49, he's still hustling, balancing acting gigs, producing, and sharing glimpses of his life with fans on Instagram. His net worth might not be sky high, sitting at an estimated $500,000, but it reflects a career that's been consistent, genuine, and impactful. What makes Ken unforgettable is his ability to stay true to himself. Whether he's stealing scenes on the Parkers,
Sorry, Kim. Guess me and the brother sort of got carried away.
or cracking us up on In the Cut,
That's when you think you're talking to somebody online, but it's really someone else pretending to be that person.
Ken Lawson's charisma is undeniable. His legacy isn't about fame, it's about making people laugh, bringing people joy, and showing that even when Hollywood forgets about you, your talent speaks for itself. If Ken Lawson has taught us anything, it's this: stay real, stay funny, and always keep your next move low-key but legendary.